Well, why don't we talk just a few minutes, a little bit about what's going on with you in the zoo?
Oh, fantastic. Well, we're actually looking at new sites potentially for the zoo. The Forestry Service site is a little more difficult than we had hoped to utilize there above the Discovery Center. We're looking at potentially different locations, and we hope to identify perhaps areas that the county could purchase outright so we didn't have to lease it. But we are going to move forward in the zoo very quickly, and I can tell the public it's something that's high on our radar, and my staff's been working diligently on that project and working with special districts to make that happen. I think we're going to see something in the next few months, an announcement of some sort to move us forward so the Friends of Moonridge Zoo can start raising money for the new zoo site wherever it happens to be. I think that's what they've really been waiting for, is somebody to pull the trigger and get us moving, and that's my intention, is to get us moving as quickly as possible.
Now, we've had a little questions on code enforcement. What's going on with that?
Well, code enforcement in the county unincorporated areas was basically non-existent for a number of years, and coming from the city of San Bernardino, where we have a very aggressive code enforcement department, I felt it was important for the quality of life of the particularly unincorporated areas that we help clean up the neighborhoods and improve the quality of life. It only takes one house with a car lot in the front yard to bring down everybody's property values and reduce their enjoyment of their own property. So our goal is, we've had the Sheriff's Department working with code enforcement to tow abandoned vehicles, to cite abandoned buildings. We're looking at cleaning up the mountain and bringing restoring the neighborhood sense that we've had for so many years up here, and actually improving the quality of life for all of our residents.
And that is important.
It is.
It really is.
Beautification is an important part of any community, and people are more likely to spend more time, working towards a better community if they feel that they're living in a nice place. They're in a nice place to live.
And it makes a difference when somebody's buying.
Absolutely.
It may be a beautiful home, but what's surrounding it may be the third one down the block that's not looking so great.
That's right. It hurts everybody's property values, and it does. It impacts the ability for people. People aren't going to purchase a house if it's next to a junk lot.
Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the Events Resource Office. I know there was more money allocated this year.
Right. We upped the county contribution from $15,000 last year to $20,000 this year, so we would match what the city of Big Bear Lake has approved for that. I felt that it was important that we be equal partners and work towards bringing more business and more opportunities for both the business community as well as the workforce here in the mountains, so that we can expand the things we offer to the public and try to get more people to stay up on the weekends, get more tourists up here, so we can really take advantage of those and raise some tax dollars and be able to do good things in the mountain communities.
Well, I know the week of the fun run, holy moly, there was a zillion people here.
Yes, I understand a lot of mountain residents actually go down the hill for those, and I wouldn't blame them. But it's part of the economy here, and it's an important part. And we're looking at bringing other events. There's a bicycle classic that's much like a smaller version of the Tour de France. That's looking at Big Bear as potentially the final leg of their classic, which would start potentially in Pasadena, come all the way up to 38, and circle the lake. It would be on ESPN. It would give really national and international coverage for the mountains and San Bernardino County, and would bring a lot of business to the region. And we're hopeful we can land that. I know the city's very excited about it, and I'm hopeful we can work together to bring that on board.
Wow! So they would start where?
Pasadena.
And they would run.
Right. They would ride their bikes all along, probably around Route 66, and then all the way up to 38, and finish with a big lap around the lake. So.
And everybody would be watching on TV.
Absolutely, you'd see Big Bear Lake from the helicopters. You probably see a dozen helicopters up there. ESPN with the big camera focusing on the riders, and see the lake and the beauty of the mountains, the clean air, and the wonderful hospitality that they get here. And hopefully, people will come back next week and the week after and just enjoy our community.
Are there other things that you're kind of looking towards in the future for Big Bear? Or?
Well, my biggest goal is to make the community better, make it a better place to live, work, and play, and not just for Big Bear, but for the entire district, for the entire county. And we've got a lot of work to do. There's some issues with forest management in our mountains. We have a huge fire. I still have a huge fire issue in the mountains, and I'd like to work on a long-term goals to institute a forest management program, much like my former employer, Southern California Edison, has around Shaver Lake. And I think we can do it and actually boost the economy here in the mountains, and do it at very little cost if it's done properly, by taking a number of trees that are marked by biologists. So we're not clear cutting, but we are thinning. And that means taking trees. We have such areas here which are 400 trees per acre. That's 10 times what they should be. And it creates a huge huge fire issue for us. We've gotten very good at putting out fires in the mountains.
Yes, we have. Thank
and because
you.
because we've been so good over the last 50 years, we have so much growth that even if you have a slight drought, all the trees become strained because you've got 10 times the trees you're supposed to have. And that's the issue we've seen with the bark beetle and some of the other naturally occurring phenomenons that have hit us in the last 10 years. And I think there's ways to work through it and make the mountains better, make it more accessible both to wildlife and to the public, and really create a better environment for our constituents here.
And I think that we've all become chained to our trees.
Right.
We don't need 400 on a lot.
Right.
100 years ago, when a fire blew through here, they were gone.
Well,
and that was nature's way.
Right, and they wouldn't take out, because there wasn't as much, because you had regular fires. You didn't have a buildup of fuel that would carry it into the canopies as we have today. And so a fire would come through whenever there was a lightning strike and burn a certain area and burn itself out, and that would allow the forest to regenerate itself. And it would take out some seedlings and smaller trees, so you didn't have the huge amount of trees we have today. That can be restored we need to reinstitute controlled burns in the mountains, and we can do that during times of the year when it's not dangerous. We need to remove some of the trees when we're 10 times the trees we need to go through and actually take trees out, and we can do that and take them to market, and actually the program, when the economy returns, the program would actually pay for itself. So we're not talking about billions of dollars of federal grants. We're talking about a program that would be systemic, that would be ongoing and last for forever, actually. As long as the forest was here, we'd have a forest management system in place. And it works. It's worked in other countries. It's worked in our own state. And I think we need to institute something like that here. I actually ran on that. It's going to take a little longer because we are dealing with national and state agencies. But I'm hopeful we can work together on moving forward on something of that nature.